kill me, but you will never destroy me. It takes strength to resist the dark side.
Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one.
Are you kidding? Why the hell should I wait for you?
I know what it's like to try and rebuild a life. I had a bad day too, once.
If you're having nightmares, then welcome to the club. My name's Subaru Natsuki, and I am the Knight of Amelia.
Right now, all I can give you is just death.
It wasn't for you in particular.
You fought 100 men because it's not in your nature to run away.
If you are feeling disheartened, that you are somehow not enough, set your heart ablaze.
And we are rolling right into it smoothly this time because my internet has decided it wanted to comment. Why am I cooperate? So much for starting smoothly. So, to just move right along into it tonight on things that we're going to be talking about. Well, obviously, beginning of the fall season and everything that I've watched thus far. Starting our fall season tier list, I guess. And going over, I think I have 14 entries to do this week. 14 anime that I've checked out. So there's that. There's news about Studio Eclipse that has come out, which is interesting. There is a ton of drama going on between creators and stuff, like Chibi Reviews and Otaku Espiritu, or Spirit of Otaku, have both gotten into their little bit of controversy this week, and I'm going to be covering that a little bit. But even before that, there were issues with like the fact that the Rurouni Kenshin author is in an interesting situation. And yeah, there's also a little bit of stuff. Like, I don't usually do VTuber stuff, but this one caught my eye because it was really, really fucking wild. Some of the reactions that people have had to it. But the whole Iron Mouse thing that happened earlier this week, too, was something that I plan to cover. But we'll roll through all of that stuff as we get there. The first thing to do, though, is talk about this season's anime and what I've watched so far. So it's the exact same format. I can't add all of the same categories yet because I haven't really backlogged anything. But I do have our usual spectrum of must watch, very good, interesting, okay, boring, and bad. And down here we have everything that I have watched thus far. And we're just going to go through it systematically, one by one, starting with the first one, Bleach, which I just watched tonight. So I'm just putting that right there for now. I will preface this with I am not specifically a Bleach fan, but most of my issues have been production side of it. I found it kind of hard to watch because of various filler elements, because of the lackluster fight scenes and all of that. Powers were cool, characters were really good, story was very good, but when it came to production, its production value versus its length, I felt like it didn't have that sort of surface level draw power to keep me fixated on it. Like, the story was good, but not good enough for me to get deeply invested in it. I do like a lot of the characters and all of that. That said, Blood War has been significantly better. And for this season, I'll put it right there with a pin in that, because there is something I do need to mention. This core of Bleach, the third core of Bleach, is the second anime to overtake Full Metal Alchemist on my anime list, which there's some fuckery going on with that, okay? I will admit that it's not the greatest system to judge things by. It is literally just popular vote. If you know anything about popular vote, it can be kind of retarded. And if it's not controlled to some extent, people will manipulate it. As evidenced by the fact that Freerin jumped up by 0.18 or something like that. It went from like a 9.14 to a 9.33 in a couple of days because the fan base has been systematically trying to keep it at the top on my anime list. I should stop fidgeting. So there's that. Yet Bleach has scored a 9.15 on my anime list with this core. And now I expect that to drop a little bit because ReZero opened with the highest isekai rating of all time at 9.0, and it's since dropped to 8.96, which has taken it from the number 10 slot to the number 17 slot on my anime list. But still, Bleach has opened up incredibly strong with this core. That's what I wanted to say. It's done very good for itself. I'm thoroughly satisfied with that first episode. There's a lot happening and a lot going on there that I like. It's still continuing off of previous seasons, so it obviously isn't something you can just pick up and go with on this alone, but it sort of brought an end to the battle against Squad Zero, and now it's Ichigo and Squad versus the Stern Ritter Elite is what it has gone into. The next one on the list, Don to Don. So I actually watched this a while ago, like a month ago, when it premiered in theaters. And obviously I'm putting it up here because it's freaking fantastic. It is goofy, energetic, very fun, a good story, good characters, good animation. Love it all around. It's one of the few 10 out of 10 experiences that you will actually find this season, which there is 2, this being one of them. We'll get to the other one eventually. But I would say that I like this more than Bleach because its first episode is just great. There's so much good about it, and I never ended up getting around to watching the dub because my player that I was using decided to malfunction and wouldn't let me do anything. And then a 1-hour oven install that I was doing today turned into 6 hours worth of retrofitting a cabinet. Yeah. It was miserable. But I got a cheeseburger and some cash for it, so I guess it all works out. Okay, so those are the 2 I remember off the top of my head. Now I actually have to go to my notes and look at where I placed these. So, the next one on the list is a rom-com called Tying the Knot with an Amagami Sister. And honestly, I didn't expect to be very interested in this one. However, the first episode was very, very good. It's a little bit of the harem thing going on, but it looks like the kind of story that's going to have one winner at the very end. And the premise is this orphan kid who wants to study and go to medical school in Kyoto is given a place to stay at a shrine. Ironically. And it just so happens that 3 girls around his age live there with their father, and they take care of the shrine. So they believe in the gods and stuff and spirituality and all of that sort of stuff. He doesn't. And he's very the cynical atheist kind of type. But he's not cruel. He's actually a good character. I do like the animation and the artwork that they do for this. I like the characters. You have the oldest sister who is a total ditz and an airhead. So not very mature or older sisterly. The middle sister is the most normal one, but she is still a tsundere who is absolutely opposed to having this guy around because their beliefs are completely opposed, and you can tell that they're going to put those 2 together from the very start. And then there's the little sister who is somewhat younger. I think she's 14. and is a total pervert. Like, the guy gets there and she immediately starts looking through his baggage for porn magazines. Yeah, she's wild. But they do a good job of making the characters likable, of making the show entertaining. I thought it was pretty good. Is it the best rom-com out there? No. It probably won't even be my top 10 if the first episode is any like indication of its quality. Our top 10 of the year, I should say. But it's very enjoyable, and I do recommend at least giving it a shot. Most notorious talker. So originally I was going to put this one in okay. That's what my notes say. But I'm actually going to move this one up to interesting because, geez, pardon me. I'm going to move this one up to interesting because as I've thought about it, like, I do like the concept of it and all. It's just I wouldn't put it very good or must watch this season because right now it still feels like a rough project, like it's someone's first outing as a story. Is that necessarily a bad thing? No. You're going to have those kinds of things regardless, but it feels like it could have done with a little bit slower pacing because it feels like it blitzed through a lot of information that might have been a little bit more important, or that might have made certain events a little bit more important. Or a little bit more impactful in that first episode. Maybe splitting that first episode into two would have probably been would probably have been better for delivery if you ask me. But I get where they're trying to go to try and like get through the introductory stuff and set up what's happening so that you can move right along to the actual main body of the plot. Fair enough. Okay. And that's literally just that's an issue of taste there. If you know anything about me, I do not need to explain this. ReZero will indubitably be the best anime of the series, in my opinion. Why? For no other reason that I am ReZero's number one simp. It's just a fact. It is a matter of fact, okay? ReZero is one of the best anime out there. It is fantastic. This first episode did a really good job of getting all of the slice of life stuff that happened in volume 16. And there is one thing I need to correct. I did say some stuff about how they changed Loli Mancer to like Kitty Mancer or little kid user. The actual term that was used in Japanese, the direct translation is little girl user. And the Lowly Mancer term is actually a legacy fan translation that was used so much that it's been kept around, that was loved so much it's been kept around. So I was wrong on that, and I do need to correct that. Ice on Twitter, like the go-to guy for like just about any kind of ReZero content, pointed that out. So I needed to correct it. Either way, it did a really good job. There are some minor discrepancies. There were some translation issues that ultimately got fixed on Crunchyroll. But overall, did a very good job. They surprised me with how good the animation looked at the very end, the last 10 minutes of the episode. And I am absolutely surprised they actually went all in on animating that scene because it's kind of brutal. And more chaos is only going to ensue. Hail, Jam. Nice to see you. So yeah, ReZero, I'm putting at the top of must watch. Now, Mecha Ude. This one caught my attention because it looked like it could be fun. And I think it's actually very good. Yeah, I think it's better than tying a knot with an Amagami sister. It was actually surprisingly interesting, and the premise is that there are these machines that they're like alien life forms, and they merge with humans, and they take the form of like mechanical arms and stuff. So like they basically augment human beings in a symbiotic relationship. And the premise is that the main character accidentally stumbles upon one of these aliens and merges with it, and he can't get too far away from it without the thing dying, because it like needs to stay near him to draw power off of him and all that. Meanwhile, there are two groups of people who are after him because he's accidentally acquired the power of this one mechanical arm. And obviously one is like an evil corporation and the other is like a resistance group, so you can barely see her, but there's this red-haired chick here. She's shown up a couple of times already, and she's sort of chased the protagonist around because she's part of the resistance group. And the first episode ends with her showing up as a transfer student in his class and moving her desk intentionally over to sit right next to him. I feel like even like with the heavy use of CGI it has for like the mechanical aliens, it still looks really good. The design feels like very, very shonen, which is not a knock against it. Shonens are perfectly fine. I'm just saying, like, it looks like you would expect it to be like a Pokemon or a Digimon kind of thing with the costume designs and all that. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It's definitely worth a watch. So next on the list, another thing I'm not a terribly huge fan of is magical girl anime. Like, I generally don't mess with this stuff because it's just not my thing. But some of them do occasionally catch my eye. Like last season, I talked very heavily about the magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies. Great anime, very short though. And unfortunately, the author of that manga died. So, yeah. RIP. I would have liked to see an end to that story. Anyway, this story focuses on the tale of a fresh graduate looking for a job, attending a bunch of interviews, and the only thing she feels like she's good at is memorizing things. And she actually is pretty good at that, like hearing people's orders once and instantly remembering them at a cafe, and yeah. But she runs into this incident at one of her job interviews where a monster appears in the interview room, and they have to call for a magical girl because magical girls are like public servants in this universe. And there's a huge problem. She ends up actually like helping the magical girl in battle and gets recruited to that magical girl's company. And there she finally finds her job, and that's the end of the episode. I thought it was pretty good. I'm actually going to put it up in very good because I did thoroughly enjoy this one. It has some unique charms to it. I like the character designs. There are some interesting choices, but it impressed me, really. I had somewhat had my eye on this since like the trailer started coming out for it. And yeah, liked it. I would absolutely recommend giving this one at least a little bit of a shot. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Lockdown Zone Level X. So this one I have a lot to say about, and I'm putting it in interesting because I can't quite say that it's good, but I can't quite say that I want to drop it because I want to continue it, but I know it's not good. It's just straight up. And like the bottom two are reserved specifically for the ones that I end up dropping. So this one has caught my interest because it's somewhat of a thriller and like a psychological horror entry. But the animation for it is interesting in and of itself. It's basically animated like you would expect a fan animation of like a manga scene. Like, you know how you see all those like Gojo versus Sukuna animations of the manga panels? That's what it looks like. Okay. It's like they did a motion manga animation style, and most of the series is just the main character reading texts and texting her mom. Well, at least the first episode is anyway. And the premise is that this chick wakes up and everything is terribly dark around, and she sees that her mom is calling her, and they start texting. And turns out her building is in lockdown and no one can get near it because there's some sort of unknown entity occupying the building. And if she makes any sort of noise, it will attract the monster. She's not allowed to go out of her room, and she's not allowed to look out the window. Interesting premise in and of itself, and I actually did end up kind of liking the intro theme. So yeah. Interesting. I don't know if I can recommend it because it's definitely not going to be for everyone. I'm going to continue watching it until I get bored of it or finish it. Loner Life in Another World. I think it's just okay because it is very stereotypical isekai trope. Well, I shouldn't say isekai trope. It is very stereotypical with its isekai tropes. The skills and all that, and like I got garbage skills and everyone else got OP skills and yada yada yada, all that, but I'm actually like secretly overpowered. And yeah, it's kind of funny. And it's not terrible by any means, but I'm interested where it's going to go with all of its usual tropes. I can't really say much other than that, other than like the premise is basically this guy doesn't want to get reincarnated. He doesn't want to deal with other people. So he tries to run away from being reincarnated. And that means he ends up getting, or sorry, summoned. He ends up getting summoned last and is stuck with all the leftover skills that are all just garbage. But he finds out they all have some level of applicability to surviving on his own. So he works with it. So yeah, it's just okay. It's just okay. I don't think it's something particularly amazing. So, let this grieving soul rest. I actually think that belongs right here. I think it's pretty interesting. I like that it's the kind that it sort of takes on that like faker trope that the Eminence and Shadow and other things like that do. But I don't feel like the guy in charge is an absolute clown show. Like he knows he sucks and he just wants to get out of there because he doesn't want to drag anyone else down. But everything he does seems to work out into more and more of the same. Is it interesting? Yeah. Is it super amazingly well written? I feel like it's a little bit too much of like the game world element to it with like roles and all of that and parties and yada yada yada, delving into dungeons to find treasures and all of that. It's not a terrible thing, but I just kind of get sick of it over time, like constantly seeing like the same sort of game tropes being employed in these series. Some series do it pretty well, others not so much, and this is the one that just kind of does at it. However, I did enjoy it. It was somewhat likable. And like I said, this guy is the master, the main character of this one is the master of like the world's the world's most famous clan or whatever. But he is like one of the weakest treasure hunters, as they're called, to ever exist. Sorry, for whatever reason, when I spend a lot of time talking on these streams, I get stuffed up real bad. So 4 more people, 4 more. Reborn as reborn in an Otomo. I forget the actual title, but it's something Otomo game villainess goes down in history. Okay. I actually find this one pretty interesting. I did end up enjoying it. It's still very much like the same sort of Otome games tropes that I don't like. Generally, when people start talking about like Otome game reincarnation isekais, I immediately go, ugh, fuck that. It's just, it's one of those things where like I would consider myself an isekai guy. I do like isekais, but that is one trope that I generally just do not care for. It's like I can't get interested in it because we're like reborn in a dating sim, all that kind of stuff. This one, however, is a little bit interesting because you actually like see the main character like doing all her training and stuff and getting better and all that. And she has an interesting premise. She's actually like trying to play the role of the villainess. And actually like be in opposition to people. It's played out quite interestingly so far. I did like the first episode. Okay, this one is the one that will probably get clipped when I say the title. But I watched the first episode of How I Accidentally Attended an All Guys Mixer. Yep. So basically, the premise is there's like 3 guys all going to college together, and they get invited to a mixer by a girl at their college. It turns out the girl and all her friends work at a cross-dressing bar. So when the college dudes show up, all the girls are dressed in drag and they look like dudes, so they're like really super confused. Yeah. I do like the character archetypes for all of the characters. It just sort of weirds me out to see 6 guys, quote unquote, on screen at any given moment, because I don't think they ever really show you what these chicks look like when they're not dressed for work. It feels like they always have an excuse to be dressed like they're going to work. Got like a bite or something right on my elbow where it's resting on my desk. It's just okay. I did like some of the elements of it, but the translations were very interesting. Like, hold up, I actually have to reverse trap. Yeah, kind of. I have to pull up some of the translations because I screenshotted them. They were just wild. Screenshots. Yeah, here we go. See if I can pull this up really quick. Percent. It won't let. Oops. Okay, I'll go back to share screen. Window. Here we go. I'll share this. So this is one of them. Obviously. Like, it's obvious whoever's translating it isn't fully a professional. And there's more to this because there are some other ones that give us a little bit of context. Let's put that down. Present, share screen, window. Like this one. This is an actual part of, oh, here we go. The translation. So TL, this is my first published translation and subtitling, sorry. So please bear with me. Anything with asterisks are probably mistranslations. Thank you. So I don't really want to dunk too terribly much on this person, but the subtitles for this one were kind of weird for that. And there's one more I think I have in here that I do want to share. Just to paint a little bit more context, that's my backstage. I don't need to show you all that. So here we go. So yeah, I'm hoping someone picks this series up. I can't spend another 2 hours translating and 2 hours subtitling. I love the manga. Please read it too. Just an interesting little bit of like that. That's like the actual like intro to the series that there. Like the first 3 minutes, all of those things happen. And some of the translations are a little bit rough, and it kind of shows you how like direct translation sometimes just feels clunky and awkward. But yeah, it's interesting enough to make me want to like continue watching it, but I don't think it's terribly amazing. 2 more. So, 365 days to the wedding. I'm going to put it here. Now, this one caught my interest because, like, as it's been somewhat talked about across the series. Hold on a second. It's been somewhat talked about over last season because it was coming out. At least among the guys that I follow. And the premise is that the two characters in question work for a travel agency, and they're going to open a new branch in Alaska. And one of the people at the office is going to have to go manage that branch, and nobody wants to go to Alaska. So the main character, who is totally an awkward overthinker, and the main heroine, who is like the coup de over planner, abnormal chick, decide that they're going to fake their marriage to avoid being sent to Alaska. So it ends up they tell that to their boss, like, okay, we'll do this, we'll keep it secret on the down low, nobody needs to know. Well, it ends up spiraling out of control because the boss tells the entire office, and it turns into a huge party. So they then have to like make up a whole fake relationship and all that and pretend like they're engaged. And yeah. Do I like it? I feel like it could get better as time goes on. I feel like it might be one of those like slow burn kind of things that over the time we watch the series, it'll get better and better. But right now, I do not think it's particularly amazing. So, yeah, that's just me. It has my interest, but I don't think it is anything terribly amazing yet. We'll see where it goes, though. Maybe if they like end up developing feelings really fast for each other, that would like they spend a lot of time. They end up spending a lot of time together. That's what I should say, and like falling in love within this first season. That would be an interesting turnabout. I'm not saying like there needs to be a confession or anything. I'm just saying like if they realize they have feelings for the other person in this season, that would be a good pace for it. Probably will have more development than Spy Family or Rent It. Yeah, right? No, I'm proud to say that I never jumped on the Spy Family hype train. I always thought it was just okay. But everyone was obsessed with how cute Anya was, and I'm just like, Anya is fucking Grogu for the anime community. The character sucks. But kawaii, okay? I'll probably get crucified for that one. So, the last one we have is You Are Miss Servant. And I'm actually going to move this one up to the bottom of very good because it's actually an interesting premise. It's very fun, and I end up actually liking the character because I feel like in that first episode, you get a whole lot more development than you would expect, particularly out of the heroine, the servant girl. So it's a rom-com of sorts about a guy who is living alone, like a high schooler, and all of a sudden this maid shows up and says that she was recommended to work at that place by her boss, and he quickly finds out she's actually an assassin and she has no skill with housework whatsoever, and only ends up deciding to hire her after she saves his life. And from there, the rest of the episode is pretty sweet, actually. She's totally a klutz. When it comes to assassin work, she's great, but she made an absolute mess of just receiving some cleaning equipment from him to start the job. It's fun. It's cute. I do like it. I think it's very good. It kind of along the same lines of what I said about the Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant used to be arch enemies. It's a nice, fluffy series right now. Very warm, wholesome vibes. So yeah, this is right now the rankings for all the anime that I have watched this week. Obviously, we will come back to this weekly and readjust these levels as needed, but that just about wraps up going over all of what I've watched. And yeah, I would have added Blue Box in here too if I had the time, but like I said earlier, a 1 hour oven install that was supposed to be just a morning thing for a couple $100 cash turned into a 6 hour cabinet retrofit and ate up almost all of my day. So I got home, watched a little bit of anime, and then set up the stream. Oh, and helped close up a pool. That's another thing I did. So yeah, quite the amazing day for me. We will get rid of that for now. So that has been our weekly anime rankings. Concluding that with trying to figure out how to segue this into the next topic. You know what? Let's just move along. Let's just do it. Let's go right into it, okay? Studio Eclipse has finally responded to all of the drama that happened a while back about potentially being shut down. And here's what they have to say. Some interesting stuff. So, to our supporters and the Berserk fan community, the project is not canceled, but we have important news. So, in that regards, there was a lot of stuff about Studio Eclipse receiving a cease and desist. It was not Studio Eclipse. It was a completely different studio who was working on a manga animation for the project for this. And a lot of people considered it a scam because of certain practices and all that. So here, Studio Eclipse is talking about some of what's going to be happening. And some of it sounds good. Some of it could potentially mean we might not see this. However, I'm going to choose to say maybe we'll get something good out of this because there's an interesting prospect here. Right off the bat, we'd like to address some of your concerns regarding the recent statement we did not receive any type of formal cease and desist, takedown request, or letter asking us to stop the project. After a lot of consideration, we have decided to move forward and establish communication with the IP holder. So they're now talking to the people who have control of the Berserk IP, which could be good for them. it could also mean that the project will get shut down because they won't allow it. Supported by a great company within the industry, we're working to get a chance to adapt this arc of the story the way fans deserve as an official studio next year. So what they're looking to do is effectively here is make this an official adaptation of Berserk, which, if so, would be really cool because we might end up seeing like actual like physical copies of the release if that's the case, which would be awesome to have a physical copy of this because from what I've seen so far, it looks great. And they've been very committed to doing what they've been doing. So this has led to the voluntary decision of taking down our Black Swordsman videos for the time being until the situation is resolved. So they're trying to play nice and they're trying to like show some good faith here. During this period, we will continue working on pre-production materials and animation tests, okay, to be able to show our vision of the project to them. Interesting. So it looks like they're going to be presenting them a project and like, hey, we want to do like an actual adaptation. Will you sign off on this and like actually let us do it? That's kind of how some of this industry stuff works already. That's like how Amazon ended up getting their hands on the Rings of Power, which if Rolo were here, he'd probably go off on a screaming fucking rant about that stuff. So yeah. We will also be unpublishing our Patreon page. Interesting for the time being as a sign of respect to our overseas viewers and good faith for this project to come to life the right way. That was one of the big complaints. There were a lot of Japanese people celebrating the potential end of the Black Swordsman because it's not an official project. And they are, taking money from fans and all that. This also helps mitigate the idea that they're scamming and all of that because they're not going to allow people to continue to pour money in while they're not actually doing anything. It kind of shows a clear sign that they're not particularly looking to milk this for all it's worth. It shows it's a little bit more akin to a passion project. Now, can I be misreading that? Sure. That could be a thing. I don't claim to be all-knowing. I don't claim to be some wise man who sees into the heads of other people. But from what this looks like, it looks like they are trying to show good faith and get an official sign-off on doing this adaptation because they want to finish it. That's what it looks like to me. For many years, all of our fan projects have been self-funded, always intended for free release to the public. We decided to accept donations after a large number of the community asked for a way to support. There's an interesting point that I think would need to be fact-checked. If someone who happens to listen to this actually knows any details on this, I would like to know, because that could be a make or break claim right there. If this was actually if the funding was only ever brought up because fans wanted to support, then that's another thing to show that they have like the full intention of doing a good job and they just want to adapt this because they like Berserk. This ended up helping us cover a lot of the background art, cleanup, and compositing costs. Sorry, I need to learn to read. All other stages were only possible by sheer passion and sleepless nights from our group of friends and animators. Okay. Again, I don't know a terrible amount about Studio Eclipse, other than they're doing this project, and I am very, very interested in seeing it get finished. We will now go back to our roots and continue to fully self-fund our fan projects moving forward. Thanks to all our support, our support for sticking supporters, all our supporters. Ugh. Like I said, I can't read. For sticking with us. Without you, the quality that we were able to achieve as just a group of fans in less than a year would have been close to impossible. A strong, united community can achieve the unthinkable. We will keep struggling. If you don't know what that is, it's a nod to Berserk in and of itself, which I like. It's a nice little touch at the end here. all in all, this reads very positive to me. It looks like they're actually like making an attempt to officialize Studio Eclipse and do a full-on adaptation of Berserk. If this goes through, it would be cool to see them like fully adapt Berserk. But I have my doubts as to whether it'll actually happen because the Golden Age memorial arc stuff came out somewhat recently. So I don't know whether they're going to be okay with signing off on handing off the property to another studio. That could cause some conflicts. That could be a huge point of contention. And that's the thing that makes me think this might end up being, excuse me, this might end up being the end of this project. All that said, like I said, I do like this. It's a good look for them. But there are some things that will need to be fact checked that I didn't have time to actually do the fact checking on myself. Because, well, this is something that came up in the somewhat recently here, actually. So, yeah. I'll have to look into that in my free time if I can get any. Oh, I need to press this button in order to get rid of that. But anyone who knows me knows that my personality revolves around being a fan of three things: Berserk, ReZero, and Naruto. That is my entire personality in a nutshell. Someone insulted me recently saying that I know you like Frieren, but you don't need to make it your entire personality, because I did the whole breakdown of Think Before You Sleep's post on Frieren, where he's just utterly fantastically wrong about the series and about certain aspects of it. And yeah, I got comments like that. I don't give a fuck if you don't like Frieren, okay? Obviously, not everything's going to be for everyone. I don't think you can make a property that everyone's going to like. Someone will inevitably not like it. Like Spy Family and me. Great example right there. But yeah, that video actually performed fairly well. I was surprised with how well it ended up coming out, or it ended up doing for a 14 channel, a 14 sub channel that put out a video of just me breaking down everything that Think Before You Sleep said and all the fucking shit that he spewed in that post. I'm surprised it got 1,000 views. If I'd posted it on my main channel, it probably would have done even better. But, oh well. 'Tis what it is. I'm going to try and keep posting clips on this channel. I don't know if I should post clips here or if I should do the clips on my main channel. I feel like I should just keep all content related to this live show here on the channel. And just post the clips here on Crimson Live and keep Crimson Law for specifically the essay videos and reviews. That being said, it's time to move on into some minor news. And not minor in the sense of Dr. Disrespect minor. I mean minor as in not terribly important. So, Overwatch is getting a crossover with, of all things, My Hero Academia. Now, I don't want to say Overwatch is entirely irrelevant, but I feel like it's had a huge falling off. I used to play the shit out of this game. I'm not like super amazing at it. I was like high plat, but it was fun. I did dedicate a decent amount of time to it back when it came out. Played since the beta up until, I think, right around the time Moira released, actually, is when I stopped playing. Or Wrecking Ball, one of the two. So I enjoyed it, but it eventually fell off, and I feel like ever since then it's gotten more and more and more irrelevant. So they now have this crossover. You have Deku Tracer. What do they got? Ochaku Juno. I don't know who Juno is. I must have been after Shigaraki Reaper and Toga Kiriko. So I don't know who Kiriko is either. Either way, it just feels like such a fitting crossover for fan bases that have the same level of cringe. Like, I feel like My Hero Academia and Overwatch kind of have similar fan bases. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have the same kind of crazies in their fan base, and they have the same kind of normals in their fan base. And now, do the costumes look good? For the most part, yeah. Except for the fact that, you know, Deku's got the lady face, which feels wrong. But I honestly think the Shigaraki and the Uraraka ones look the best. That one's just goofy fun looking, and would probably be the one I would use the most because tank main. I actually did play a little bit of Rhine, but generally it was Orisa or Zarya that I played back when I was actually in this game. So yeah, that's a thing. I don't know how much it's going to draw over to, like, they did the Cowboy Bebop crossover a while back. I don't know how much that actually got people to want to play the game. But it's kind of becoming like Fortnite now, where they're getting more and more of these out of universe crossovers, which is weird. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I'm not a gamer. I just wanted to cover it because it was somewhat interesting, but I don't have any like strong opinions on it, I guess. Ugh. I guess we'll keep in line with the usual manga stuff. So let's do this. We will continue on with the anime and manga stuff with the story that kind of came out earlier this week. The story of Nobuhiro Watsuki, the Rurouni Kenshin author, and the massive number of mangaka who are going to be doing guest illustrations for, or like promotional illustrations for it. Gege Akutami, Ashihara Daisuke, so Jujutsu Kaisen World Trigger, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Tokyo Ghoul, Normandy Secret Club, Slam Dunk, Hallelujah 2 Boy. I don't know how to pronounce that. Hallelujah Boy. Hell Teacher Noob, Eiichiro Oda, Death Notes, Takahashi, Obata, Boys Over Flowers. Okay, Kishimoto is on here. Kako. Is there anyone else I recognize? Oh, The Promised Neverland. You know what? The funny thing is a while back, I bought the box set for A Promised Neverland, and I still have not touched it. I absolutely intend to read that series. I do. And I probably should really get to it. Shaman King, Black, Yuki Tabata, Yoshihiro Togashi. Ooh. City Hunter, Kohei Horikoshi, Assassination Classroom, Yusei Matsui, Naoya Matsumoto, Tolaru, Shinigeru. So why is this like a huge idea? Well, I mean, obviously because Rurouni Kenshin's a big IP, right? And it's reached its 30th anniversary. Congratulations. The issue is we have a very controversial figure in Nobuhiro Watsuki. Because for those of you who don't know, Nobuhiro Watsuki was found and convicted for being in possession of CSAM. And if you don't know what that is, pull up an incognito tab and look it up. Because it basically is an illegal material that rhymes with wild corn. Okay? And this isn't like lolicon stuff or whatever. No, this is from what I understand, this is the actual material. And he has said he even like went on record and said he has an interest in adolescent girls at like around the 14-year-old range. Yeah. So there's that part of it. There's also the fact that after being convicted, his only punishment seems to have been a $2,000 fine. So here we go. This is an article from February of 2018 when all this happened. 200,000 yen for simple possession of the material. When converted to USD, the fine was just less than $2,000. So evidence procured by public prosecutor's office confirmed the artist possessed numerous DVDs featuring videos of nude girls in their early teens. The stuff was discovered last October with other materials. They found that DVDs after Watsuki came upon their radar once they were tipped on a different investigation. Authorities have officially charged Watsuki last November. During his deposition, the artist said, "I liked girls in late elementary school to around the second year of middle school." So here's where things start to get really, here's where the problems stem from. In Japan, possession of wild corn was not considered illegal until 2014. Currently, a guilty plea to such a crime can lead to up to 1 year in prison and a maximum fine of 1 million yen. So that is why the sentence seems terribly light in comparison to what you would expect out of the US. Because, believe it or not, there are completely different laws in Japan about this stuff. And now the debate is still like ongoing about like other things about whether lolicon and such materials should be considered that stuff. And I'm not going to get into that because I have tried to come to understand both sides of that argument, and all it's done is make me hate my life. Okay? That's what I'll say. That said, this isn't like it's not actual, it's not low, it's the actual material. It is like actual real people from what I've said, from what I've read. This guy's also, from what I've seen, going to be illustrating the next cover of Dragon Ball. Which begs the question, why? Like, this is a pretty serious charge. Like, a really fucked up one, too. At least here in the US. Apparently not in Japan. Do you think a lot of these, like, industry people are, like, getting forced to by Shonen Jump to gas this up? Or do you think it's just not that big of a deal over there? Which would be really fucking weird, right? Ugh. I'll tell you what, if this guy was... Sorry. I'll tell you what, if this guy was from the US, he'd be fucked right now. He'd have no career anymore, okay? Unless he was with Hollywood. Did he? But yeah. It's just, it's wild to see this. There's so many artists on this 30th anniversary list. I almost feel like they're getting held at gunpoint and being forced to do the illustrations against their will. But who knows? It may not actually be all that big of a deal over there. It may just be another thing like, yeah, he's kind of a fucking weirdo, but whatever. It's also not like it's said he's guilty of, actually going out and touching kids. So, who knows on this one? I personally find it really weird. But I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's kind of a big deal, but I don't want to talk about this specifically anymore. So I guess with that said, we can sort of get into some of the drama content. Drama. I don't generally do drama. It is not my thing. It's a good way to get ass blasted by an entire community to weigh in on drama that you're not a part of. But I feel like this one is kind of a good one to talk about. And I did mention it a little bit, and I have been tweeting about it a lot. Chibi Reviews and Spirit of Otaku have gotten themselves into a little bit of hot water. Not like over the same thing, not together, but individually at the same time. So it's kind of funny. And it starts here. So Chibi Reviews made this tweet. The animators didn't need to go so hard for this scene. Now, if you're interpreting this, please comment what you think that he's talking about. What could he possibly mean? The animators didn't need to go so hard for this scene. Obviously, talking about the animation quality. And this is the scene where basically the Seropoians threaten, like at the very beginning of Dandadan, where they threaten to grape Momo. Up until Okarun jumps, or possessed Okarun jumps in and starts kicking ass. All he did was say the animation looks good, okay? And you could say the same thing about the Eclipse, even though the Eclipse has some fucked up, awful shit. But that quickly spiraled out of control as a lot of people decided they wanted to take this out of context. So it then led to this. The most normal people, everyone. I'm going to continue posting whatever the hell I want. Have thousands of you seething over me breathing gives me unimaginable joy. So here's a repost of the tweet from earlier. Actually, no, it's not quite. There's a post after this. People reacted in outrage. Chibi reposted the scene where they just get done fighting Nessie in the manga, and said, "How do you think Twitter will react when they animate this?" Because they obviously are. They have Nessie in the trailer, or not in the trailer, in the intro. They're gonna get to that. They have to, in order to do Ira and Gigi in this season. So that's gonna be a thing. So then this person reposted it. We need to bring back killing annoying people. What the fuck is wrong with you? Hold on. Can I just scroll sideways with this? Yeah, we can. Please, God, smite this man so he can finally get off my timeline. Block him, you fuck. If he's that much of a problem to you. Wallahi, billahi, you are the most disgusting creature I have laid my eyes upon. You are the mistake of Jacob, and he and you shall spend eternity in hell for it. Even Dajjal won't accept you. Humanity's worst traits personified. You have, pre-cum brains, you vile fuck. So just the irony of a Yakubian acting like this is fucking hilarious. Like, these people are not particular, like, I don't want to get into that, but that's a whole bucket of funny business right there. Either way, one, to make this claim right here, right at the end, the P word, that's a pretty bold fucking claim that you're going to have to back up with some actual evidence. If you don't have actual evidence of him having some, wild corn or something of that nature, or doing something to a child, you can't use that, okay? This isn't this isn't an instance where like someone comments on cuties talking about how they get all hot and heavy looking at prepubescent girls. All this guy said was that people are going to freak out when they animate a certain scene. He never said anything about the actual content of the scene. All he said is that people were going to freak the fuck out about it. And it happens every time Twitter rediscovers Berserk. It's fucking frustrating, okay? Like, God, do people not have anything better to do? We need to stone this guy. This is not acceptable behavior, okay? And we'll keep going. We'll keep going. There's more. If I ever saw you in real life, I would stomp the brainstem out your head and spit on your shaking corpse. What the actual fuck has this man done? Meanwhile, my DMs and quotes riddled with this over an anime post. You genuinely think this is a normal response for thousands of you to wish death on me, but I'm annoying for calling people like this out. Please, for once, push aside petty hatred and have some humanity. Regardless of what you think of chibi reviews, going out and making death threats over something you don't agree with is fucking vile behavior. We're almost at the end of this train. Wrong button. So here we go. Here's the next one. Boruto fans and others trying to dox me now. Oh, but I'm evil for an anime post. Also, this is public information I talked about in my vlogs years ago. So he actually qualifies this. This guy says, don't take nothing I say to heart. Yeah, fuck off. So he posts Chibi's actual stuff, which the only reason I'm sharing this on stream is because Chibi doesn't seem to care that this stuff is shared. Like, he reposted this himself. Okay? So this is the information that this guy shared. This is public information. Chibi didn't really react much to this, but he is pointing out that regardless of if it's public or not, if you share someone's personal information on the internet, like their name, their birth date, their location, that's in response to a disagreement, you're not the good guy. Okay? It's as simple as that. You are not the good guy. It is not acceptable behavior to make death threats or to do stuff like this. Because you know why people do stuff like this? This isn't a joke. This isn't just a ha-ha, got you, or like make fun of your name kind of thing. No, people post this information to make it clear I can find you. Or to say, hey, anyone who has the time, go find this person. It is practically a veiled threat. That's what it is. And now, like I said, this is public information. It's not illegal to share this. But why in God's name would you, in response to something Chibi Reviews has said, let's go to the post. What did he say? Oh yeah, mask off moment. Do I do rage bait? I do not do it intentionally. That's pretty much the point of this. And then he says he's just going to fuck with people who decide that they're going to be pissed off at him. Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. I mean, I get it. You're allowed to do that, but I personally don't engage with that kind of stuff. I don't see it as worth my time. People call me shit on the internet. I just ignore it because it's not worth sitting there trying to correct someone who's just trying to piss me off. Either way, nothing Chibi has done deserves to get this kind of reaction. Sending death threats to people is not acceptable. We should exile these people from the fucking anime community. They should be excommunicated. No one talks to them. No one includes them in anything. Get rid of them. All because with the Boruto fans, they take it personally because Chibi has mocked Boruto in the past. That's been a thing. And for some reason, that means he's now public enemy number one. Which, if we're being honest, Boruto's up there with one of the worst fucking fan bases of all time. Like, they fucking suck. And you know what? Let's just go down it. Every fan base has their fucking toxic parts of it. Does every part of the Boruto fan base suck? No. But their crazies are particularly crazy. Hey, Donuts, how you doing? Same with ReZero. I love ReZero, but ReZero's community, their crazies are particularly crazy. And they are one of the most sensitive communities on the internet. As much as I love the series, as much as I love like all the positivity that you can find in there, at the same time, they are fucking fragile and sensitive. Like, I saw posts about people going around to big content creators and blocking anyone who didn't like ReZero. You just saw the video about Chibi. I mean, I haven't done any videos. I haven't seen any videos, but he probably has covered a little bit of this himself and the outrage. It's fucking ridiculous, and the guy doesn't deserve it. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about all of this is, what has this man done? I'm going to adjust my camera because it's a little too high. There we go. What has this man done to deserve this kind of reaction, to be berated and shit on like this? It's not fair to him. To get death threats for saying he liked the animation in a scene that contained some uncomfortable stuff. That isn't an appropriate reaction. It's not like he said, I like that redo of Healer does the grape thing. Oh. You cannot like him because he posts provocatively. Who showed a... Chibi showed a gun, are you saying? Huh. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to own one. From what I understand, he does live in Tennessee. But yeah, it's like, this is my problem with the anime community, is we let these fucking psychos run rampant. Good. Yeah, that's actually one thing I forgot to mention now that you said this. Yeah, he actually did end up getting like properly doxxed. And no, I won't show any of the footage of that because I'm not going to share his personal information out there. The whole point of this is to talk about how, like, this is fucked. Like, this guy just covers news for the anime community. And so does the next guy we'll talk about, whose drama is happening, though not to this extent. But Chibi is getting berated on Twitter because Boruto fans fucking hate him, and they'll find any reason to shit on the guy because he doesn't like Boruto. Neither do I. Yeah, there's also the thing about his little brother. Again, more fucked up stuff. Like them mocking his little brother who ended his life, I guess I should say. It's fucked up. And it genuinely makes me pissed at the anime community that we continue this kind of behavior, that we allow this kind of behavior to fester. I guess that's the best way to say it. Because goddamn, if something like this happened in the like in an anime, everyone would be talking about like, oh well, this kind of behavior shouldn't be allowed. No, 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 no. And then you get this kind of this exact kind of toxic behavior out of the anime community. We talking about Nicholas Light here because I know there's something like that happened. Or you could be talking about someone else. But yeah, I mean, some of this shit is just awful. Like, people are so fucking violent. And look, I can be pretty abrasive myself. I can come off as pretty heavy-handed and all of that. But if you approach me in good faith and at least make the attempt to, like, genuinely refute what I'm saying, I'm going to take you more seriously. If you come at me and just insult me and call me a PDF or say that I make Freerin my entire personality, I'm just going to disregard you and ignore you. And if you keep coming at me, then yeah, I will probably come at you. And I won't be nice about it. That's just how things are. And I wish it wouldn't be that way. But we're dealing with human nature amplified by social media and people who are just too immature to be on the internet. I feel like too many people have too much privilege by being allowed on the internet. So yeah, I hope Chibi is genuinely all right. I hope this fucking comes to an end. And I hope that the anime community realizes that we need to not allow these fucking psychopaths to constantly hurl death threats and doxing threats at anime YouTubers, no matter how bad they are. I don't care if the guy shits on your favorite anime, okay? That is not reason to say you want him dead. Like, fuck, I disagree with some people who... Weebs and waifus, I love the community, but they talk shit about ReZero, okay? That doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and say they need to be taught a lesson or any of that for not liking ReZero. It's as simple as I disagree with their opinion on it, okay? I may get excited about it because I love ReZero, and I may be somewhat abrasive about, discussing it because I like ReZero. That is the side of passionate fandom that you're just never going to get away from. But straight up death threats and all of that, come on, let's not engage in that behavior, okay? Although I did once jokingly say I would cage fight Blabbering Collector over something. And that's probably going to get brought up and used against me. Someone will go find that. I might as well mention it now. I jokingly said that I would fight Blabbering Collector in a cage match. Over an anime opinion. But she deserved it, okay? Kidding. But yeah, as long as we're on this topic, this guy, another anime YouTuber, got into his own drama of a kind. Otaku Espiritu, Spirit of Otaku, I think he is on YouTube. He does news and stuff. I follow him. I keep up with a little bit of his stuff. I know he does some like analysis and all that. And he seems like a chill guy that I would actually want to listen to. Okay? So he made this post. ReZero is reminding me of Mushoku Tensei right now, with the fact that they are having to defend their show with the same attacks that Mushoku Tensei had to deal with in many cases, and defending it in a kind of the same way. So I didn't see any of this talking about how Subaru and Beatrice interact. It is very wholesome. It is like a very like father-daughter or like older brother, little sister kind of relationship. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay? Honestly, it's my favorite dynamic of all time. It's absolutely adorable the way he treats Beatrice. But he pointed this out. I haven't seen it. It may just be the fact that my feed is curated to only feed me good stuff about ReZero. Because I am a ReZero simp. Number one ReZero simp. And it's just not showing up in my feed. So if someone can fact check and prove that absolutely nothing is going on with this, that would be good. Either way, his comparison was not to say that ReZero was like Mushoku Tensei. He was saying that it was experiencing the same kind of backlash. I think that's pretty clear in what he said here. Well, it turned into basically people attacking him for saying that. Hold on, I think there's actually down here. Do you really find Subaru's attitude towards Beatrice dirty? Where the fuck did I say this, dumbass? And now that's a little bit of abrasive on his part, but it gets the point. It gets the point across. And it spiraled out of control where he was trying to defend the ReZero community, and they ended up coming back and attacking him. And that's why I say they're one of the most fragile, like easily offended communities out there. As much as I do love the positivity and all the shit they do for their series, they are fiercely committed to it. But you say something that they perceive as an offense, they will attack you. And a lot of people did come out against the toxicity of the ReZero community. So it's odd because ReZero was one of the groups that attacked Mushoku Tensei, and now they're getting the same treatment. Yes. As far as Mushoku Tensei goes, ReZero was one of the progenitors of the PDF Tensei stuff that has propagated on Twitter and on online forums. And it's become known that the ReZero community has become a toxic shithole that attacks any show that is not these. I don't think it's the entire ReZero community, but I think, like I said, they do have some of the craziest crazies in there. Overall, I think it's a minority, but not enough people are speaking out against the craziest crazies who go on a rampage if you so much as insinuate that you don't like ReZero. So he is right. They probably have one of the most toxic contingents in their fan base of all time. It's become a creepy cult of loner kids. I don't know about that. I mean, I am a loner kid, so I guess. Some of them stalk me on alts and get mad that I talk any other anime. It's called karma. So I don't know about all of this stuff, but this dude did get some pretty clear backlash for his post about something he never actually said. If you wanted to correct him and say that, no, in fact, ReZero never got any backlash for that scene, that would be one thing. Okay? But people decided that they were going to jump down his throat for daring to compare ReZero to Mushoku Tensei. Which I've done. I have said that exact same thing. I have said that ReZero and Mushoku Tensei suffer from a problem where in both series, people will look at their protagonists and not see the whole picture. They won't look into it. They won't try and think about what's going on there. And that leads to people vastly misunderstanding their protagonists and what's going on in the series and how to interpret it. Wonder what the android ages are on these quacks. They're probably like actual loner kids. They're probably under 18. And they probably shouldn't be on the internet making death threats. They should be doing their homework. It is a good point. A lot of these are probably minors doing this stuff. But yeah, I mean, why do we have to constantly be like, it's okay to have it's okay to have a heated discourse over things. Like I got heated when I was talking about Think Before You Sleep's post. Obviously, if I in real life, I'd be nicer to him. At least at first. I would still actually probably get really heated to his face about some of the things he said, because I am a very excitable person and I get up to 100 really quick. I take it up to 100 really quick. Not like I'm going to get physically violent or anything. It's just I am going to get loud and somewhat abrasive when I get passionate about a subject. That's just how I am, okay? I don't hate people because of their opinions. I don't hate people because they don't like the same things I do. What irks me about people is when they do not actually get things correct. So that's why I say, I have to correct Espiritu here, because I do not think it's the entire ReZero community. A lot of people that I have seen who are very prominent in the ReZero community on Twitter have, like, in fact, gone out and said, I am ashamed of their behavior. We should not be doing this, okay? But the fact is that we have not done enough to hinder the crazies from being crazy. We've kind of left them in their own corner, unmitigated, and now it's coming back to bite us, and that is the anime community as a whole. Same with like Dragon Ball fans attacking a ReZero post recently. There was a post that someone made about how ReZero was going to be anime of the year, and Dragon Ball fans immediately jumped on that, taking it like it was a slight at Dragon Ball, saying it was shit, which was never said in the original post. The anime community gets so fired up about what they're passionate about, they lose the plot. That is that has kind of been the point of my entire series of videos lately. We are losing the plot, things are getting out of focus, and we're getting far too invested in just slinging mud across fandoms and doing toxic ass shit. It's going to bring the whole damn thing down on us. Okay? The internet certainly doesn't help. The fact that, like, everyone on the internet is just hiding behind anonymity and abusing the fact that they can sling all this stuff at each other and potentially not have to worry about consequences. Because it is still possible to find who's operating an account. Doesn't matter if you have a VPN or anything, the government will find you if they want to. You got that? At my core, I'm a person who despises conflict. Okay? Does that mean I'm just going to avoid it altogether? No. But I'm not going to purposely try and start it. That's why I generally don't engage in hate. If something engages me intellectually, like the Think Before You Sleep post, I will take it on. And if you want to respond and try and debunk me, okay, go ahead. Do it in good faith. I try to go into everything in as good faith as possible. And I may sling insults like retard and you don't know what you're talking about and all that kind of stuff. Fine. You can come right back at me with all that stuff. That's why you've never started a YouTube channel. It is very scary. Yeah. Yeah. It can be fucking wild. Like my co-host, Roland, who I don't know where he is. He comes and goes. He shows up as he pleases. I was screaming at him the other day over a very minor thing. Do I hate him? Am I like actively invested in like finding him and doing all that? No, I just got heated over a debate. We need to learn where that line is, okay? To scream and yell and all that stuff in person while you're talking to each other and to banter back and forth while arguing something, that's nerd culture, okay? That is standard stuff, and that's been around since before time existed, okay? People get passionate about the things they like. That's one issue. That is one completely separate issue. But to make death threats and to dox people and to flat out misinterpret what they're saying to try and make it something that it's not is wrong. And that is crazy shit. And we should not engage in that kind of behavior. And I would hope that if I ever do something like that, that people would check me on it and that they would call me out and not just go along with it, okay? that's the kind of community I want to build with this YouTube channel. It's like people who are willing to actually engage me in good faith and not just immediately jump to conclusions. Okay. If I ever don't give the benefit of the doubt to someone, if I ever come off as ignorant or not understanding something, I would hope people would correct me. Okay? I can be pretty arrogant, yeah, but I don't think I'm so proud that if someone didn't show me the error of my ways, I wouldn't acknowledge it. Or if someone showed me the error of that, if someone, I should rephrase that. I'm not so proud that if someone showed me the arrogance of the error of my way, that I wouldn't be willing to correct it. Okay? It's as simple as that. Tone down the death threats, tone down the doxing, and please at least just try to think about what this person is saying rather than jumping to conclusions because you formed some idea in your mind of what they're saying and didn't actually interpret what they said. That has been the point in all this, because these guys haven't done anything terrible to the anime community. You can probably interpret some of what they've done as, somewhat pretentious. Sure. Maybe. I might give you that one. But at the end of the day, they're generally like me. They just want to try and understand things. And they'll sit there and they'll think and they'll do deep analysis and share their thoughts. Some people look for meaning, others look for excitement. Understand what it is that you want and what it is that the other person wants, and try and actually build a bridge instead of just slinging mud at each other. That said, we're moving into like the very last drama topic I have for the night. And unfortunately, Rolo's not around, which is okay. That's fine. He doesn't have to show up to everything. I've told him that, okay? It's just always fun to talk to him and always nice to have him around. So we'll bring this up because this is something I don't generally cover, but it seemed really weird that people were upset about this. And this was earlier in the week. Kind of got drowned out now. But Iron Mouse faced some backlash, specifically because people were like, what the fuck is a VTuber? What do they even do? And why is one now one of the most popular streamers in the world? Wrong button. Here we go. So Aiden Ross goes off after finding out that Iron Mouse beat Kai Cenat's all-time Twitch subscriber record.
A virtual streamer has become the most subscribed Twitch channel ever. What? As she surpassed Kai Cenat's record. Wait. Hold the fuck up. What? What the fuck is this? I'm not even trying to be on no hating shit, but what the fuck am I looking at? Can somebody give me the context behind this? I saw this picture earlier. I thought it was like some type of meme. It's a dude? No shit. Guys, anybody that's role-playing as this is a fucking grown man. Or has a bitch working in some type of like basement. Like, I'm not even trying to be weird, but like, chat, like, if we're being real, like, what the fuck am I looking at, dude? Like, no, chat, like, real shit. GG, what? What does she look like? Can I please see? Here's the stream. Oh, fuck.
I'm good at representation of me.
Yes, of you. I can't believe you have one fan.
Okay, so let me ask you guys a question, bro.
Yeah?
Before I really talk my opinion on this, is there anything wrong? Like, I need to know, is there something like wrong with the person behind this shit? I'm not trying to be weird on God, but like, bro, you gotta give me the context.
It's a VTuber, dude. So basically, this all became a thing because XQC also did the same thing. Had like a huge reaction to what was going on with Iron Mouse and all of that. I bring this up because, like, I'll close that out because there's really nothing much more to talk about after this. I bring all this up because it was fucking weird to see people like have oh hey Pilgrim, what's up? It was really weird to see people have this tism over Iron Mouse doing a charity stream. That's what it was that caused that broke the record. Is Iron Mouse did a charity stream for a foundation to help with immunodeficiency disease because she herself has some sort of immunodeficiency disease. And yeah, that's what it is. Do I ever watch VTubers? No, that's why I generally don't cover them. I personally don't care for them for the most part. There are a few that I will actually, somewhat keep up with. Pastaroni Ravioli, and that's only because she plays with other gaming YouTube channels that I've been watching since I was 14. Kirsch Verstral, sometimes I'll check out streams that she's on. And technically you can count It's a Gundam. I'll watch an occasional It's a Gundam video. But it's not like I'm going out to watch Guargur or Iron Mouse or something. That's just not my thing. So, can I say I have a particularly strong opinion on this like I do with Chibi and Otaku Espiritu? No. No. I just find it really fucking whack that people would be super upset that a VTuber is popular. Like, half of these channels are the laziest slop ever. All they do is sit there and react to shit. Like, you can do whatever you want on YouTube. Obviously, not all of it is like respectable quality of content, but at least with VTubers, they're going out and they're interacting with fans and reading chats and stuff, and a lot of times they're doing games and all of that, or like doing commentary and all that. Okay, fair enough. If you want to use a VTuber avatar for that. I'm sorry, what? It didn't start? Just randomly started with me mid-conversation? I've been streaming for an hour and a fucking half now. In fact, I had people all the way back at 8:01 showing up. And people commenting. Huh. Yeah. So yeah, it's like one of the... It is insane to me that so many people can be so ridiculous. Like I covered with Chibi reviews, with Spirit of Otaku, and now with like the Iron Mouse stuff that I don't really care much. And as far as you're saying, Pilgrim, I'll have to go check that. I just punched my mic. I'll have to go check that out and see what's up with that. But I mean, I've been going for quite some time. Huh, that's weird. I wonder what that's about. You have me worried. Wild Robot is a good movie? Okay. I might have to check that out. It might be something that it caught my attention. Like the animation on it looked good. And maybe I'll take my younger cousins to go see that movie because it looks like something that could be, like for it looks like something that's kid friendly. Either way, I think that just about wraps everything that I wanted to talk about tonight. I'm going to take a quick stroll through my Twitter file to see if there's anything else that is terribly worth talking about. I guess there's some. There's the Sawyer confrontation, but I was hoping not that kid friendly. Okay. Nice to know. There's the Sawyer confrontation, which I was hoping Rolo would be here because that's something that would be up his alley. And there's some like random like acolyte stuff that's happened in here, and yeah, Freerun's getting a season 2. That's a thing. I think I mentioned that. Yeah. Let me pull it up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oops. Let's get rid of that. I want the actual response. Present, share screen. Because this is wild. The only reason I share this is because it's a guy I kind of am somewhat aware of because of the full Aussie. Oh, let's go here. So if you don't know who Raging Rhino is, well, he's got his own channel. He does Star Wars content. And he decided to confront Sawyer at a con. So shout out to the man who just screamed in my face about my advocacy against toxicity in fandom. You're bold, buddy. I'll give you that. So this was his response. This tweet just goes to show how full of shit you are. I literally walked up to you, said your name to get your attention, and literally said, good job trying to cancel YouTubers, loser. You even said thanks before you realized what was actually happening. No yelling or screaming in your face. Just noticed you and wanted to call you out for your toxic fandom hypocrisy, especially after your advocacy of the coordinated cancel campaign. Typical Disney Star Wars toxic fandom behavior. You are full of bullshit, lies, and hypocrisy for what? Oh, that's right, the clicks. I get it because people like you always say that people will never say this shit to your face. So I thought I'd just say it to your face. No threat, no yelling, no screaming, just calling you out on your bullshit. And now I have to call you out on your bullshit lying tweet as well. Good job again. This is where you say thanks again and block time now, right? So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to bring up with Rolo because I know he is not a fan of Sawyer. And maybe I'll save this for if the Rolo Rome cast comes around and hasn't covered it. But yeah, I guess it kind of coincides with what I'm talking about here with like the toxicity stuff. Like, it's one thing to like confront someone and like talk to them and say stuff. It's another thing to lie about them, to misrepresent what happened or what they said, and to dox and death threat them. Or to try and demonetize them and get them kicked off of YouTube. With the anime community, it's a whole different fucking... I'm tired of all this bullshit, man. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. It's the new Bleach preview. There's the ReZero subs issue that ended up getting correct. I don't know what that I would have gone up and said something in person. Seems extreme, but to his credit, he did say that she says no one would ever do it. So I think it might have just been a like spur of the moment thing. Like he saw her at the convention and then decided he was going to take her up on that. But yeah, I would agree. I would have probably just ignored her. But that's, as a person, I am generally not confrontational. I generally do not feel the need to I guess I should phrase it the way I phrased it earlier. I despise conflict pretty much. I don't want to have to fight other people. I would rather sit here and gush about like anime that I like all the time, but there are certain things that I feel need to be said. Like tonight, I spent a lot of time talking about how toxic the anime community can be and how there needs to be some sort of pushback against this behavior. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. That said, I think it's probably a good point to call it a wrap. So, yeah, thanks to everyone who decided that they were going to tune in and listen. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to know more, if you want to follow me for more content, Crimson Law is my main channel. I also have a Twitch that when I actually get the equipment to do it, I will be doing gaming streams and stuff over there and on this live channel right now. That is the Twitch is Crimson Law 4110. I would hope you would go check it out because, well, I want the followers and all that. Otherwise, I'll be posting clips here and doing live streams here. This will all be dedicated to animated. And all of my essay stuff will continue to be on Crimson Law. And you can also follow me on Twitter to see all of my daily escapades at Crimson Lawson. Because I tweet a lot. I talk a lot of shit. And if people want to push back against me, go ahead. Otherwise, hope you have a good night. I'm going to play us out. What clip should I use? You know what? I haven't done it to him for a very long time. So let's have Caleb play us out.
Because everyone is asking, we're going to tell you. Yes, I have sex with my husband.